Yo, welcome back to the Corner Suite Podcast. Your host, Steve Nelson, Mr. Five Picks in the Flesh. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe, man, because that's the right thing to do. But on another note, it's free. The economy is rough, inflation is high. So the easiest thing you could do right now, man, watching this video is go ahead and subscribe so I can continue to give you guys some good insight, some good NFL talk, sports talk, give you guys some good perspectives on what's going on around the NFL, man. I appreciate you guys for tapping in. So let's get into the video. You feel me? All right. Today we're breaking down the NFL's newest head coach hires and what they mean for each team. Let's get it. The New York Giants, John Harbaugh. The Giants landed a big name in John Harbaugh. He's got Super Bowl pedigree. For the Giants, that means a total culture shift. Expect them to lean on a strong defense, disciplined play, something the Giants have lacked. Harbaugh's leadership could finally bring stability. We got the next team, the Atlanta Falcons, the home team. Kevin Stefanski, now the Falcons snatched up new head coach. He's known for his run-heavy offense. The Falcons with talented backs will lean into the ball control and play action. This hire signals a focus on balancing the offense. Shout out to Atlanta Falcons, man. That's going to be exciting. The Miami Dolphins, they bring in Jeff Haley. He's got a defensive mind for the Dolphins. This means turning a flashy team into a more complete one. Tightening up that offense, that defense, taking pressure off the offense. And then, going to the AFC South. Hold on. Going to the AFC South. Who we got? My boy out of San Francisco, I believe. What's his name? Robert Saleh. Okay. Robert Saleh for the Titans. I think that's a good hire. He's all about aggressive defense. Expect a hard-nosed Titans team that thrives on defensive intensity. Exactly what they've been missing. Now let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about Robert Saleh and what that means for the Tennessee Titans and the entirety of the AFC South, right? Now, Robert Saleh, he has some run-ins with DeMeco Ryans, the Houston Texans football coach, right? They both coached in San Francisco, so they have that in common. I think they actually been on the same staff previously, I think, for the Houston Texans. I think Robert Saleh was a coach when DeMeco Ryans was a player. So, they got a little chemistry going on right there. Two great minds in football, especially for the defensive side. Now, this is going to be interesting for the Houston Texans because here we are. You bring in Robert Saleh to the Tennessee Titans. He's going to run the same defensive scheme that DeMeco Ryans like to run. It's a zone-heavy scheme and quarters. That's what they lead with. Quarters coverage. Two high safeties, corners, press quarters. That's what they call it. The corners are pressed majority of the time. Condensed splits, formations, the corners play off the ball. And then it's just whatever comes vertical in your quarter, that's your guy. So it's like a quarter that turns into a man-to-man coverage. Anything that runs underneath, it goes to the next zone. And so what makes that defensive scheme work really well, I'm talking football now. What makes that defensive scheme work really well, especially for DeMeco Ryans, is that he's getting a lot of pressure with just 4 down linemen. We already know Will Anderson, has got, all pro talent. It might be, it might be defensive player of the year or runner up at least. Then you got the Neil Hunter on the other side, who I don't know how the hell he didn't make the Pro Bowl or all pro, but he's a quiet guy, but his numbers don't lie. Got like over 100 sacks in his career. The guy just has consistent performances, man, each year in and year out. You can't deny it. He looks like a freaking uh, dude from outer space. Very built up, chiseled guy, and it has a high motor. So, that, and then you got the guys on the outside and the back end. You got good corners, Kamar Lassiter, Derek Stingley, and then you got everybody else fills in. So that defense fits the mode of what that personnel fits the mode of what D'Amico Ryans is trying to do. So on the flip side, Robert Saleh going into the Tennessee Titans, he doesn't have that same personnel. But I would like to think that going into this draft or free agency, that Robert Saleh would do whatever he can, you know, to try to bolster up that defense, because it's going to be the same scheme. It's the same scheme. Now, it might bode well for CJ Stroud because he goes against that same type of scheme while he's in training camp. Some days in practice when the ones against the ones. So, I don't know how that would change. But Robert Saleh, I like that hire for the Tennessee Titans. Just for the simple fact, man, I want to see some competitive football. The AFC South has not been good, guys, for years. I think the last decade. But now, within just this year, I think there's three teams right now. You got the Houston Texans, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Indianapolis Colts. They are all competitive football teams. Indianapolis Colts, I don't know what black cloud is lingering over their head, but they started out, looking like they were going to be favorites the way they started out. With Daniel Jones playing really well, seemed like he had a revived career. Then he got injured. So they got a lot of, bad luck later down the stretch of their season. And, they didn't even make the playoffs. So, I mean, you heard what the owner said. She's putting a lot of pressure and fire under the butts of the likes of Shane Steichen, head football coach for the Colts, and and my guy, what's the GM name? And Mallard. Mallard, I don't know his name. Anyway, forget that. So the Colts are going to be competitive. The Jacksonville Jaguars, you know, T Law stepped up this year. He showed some promise. He showed a lot of promise. They won a division, by the way. So shout out to, the Jacksonville Jaguars for winning the AFC South. I I don't think anybody, if anybody could have predicted the Jacksonville Jaguars would have won the AFC South division, please let me know in the comments if you predicted that. Because by all means, if I was a betting man, I would have put the Houston Texans. And that's just what it is. No, I would have never guessed that. Even though, even still, with them drafting a Travis Hunter, in the first round, I didn't think that was enough because they were going back and forth on what side of the football he was going to play. The guy hasn't even been an impact. He wasn't able to settle down in a role. I never thought the defense was going to be that good. They end up turning out being a really good defense. So, shout out to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then, Robert Saleh. Insert Robert Saleh. Pause. So I'm really excited to see what happens with the Tennessee Titans and that whole entire division. Cam Ward, I mean, I don't like when people give up or talk down on a quarterback who's the number one overall pick, and he's going into a situation that is abysmal. The Tennessee Titans don't really have a lot of talent, guys. They don't really have an O-line. The defense is not good, so you're not generating a ton of turnovers. Wide receiver core is not that great. Calvin Ridley, I don't know where he is, what happened to him. But Calvin Ridley has not been good. for the last couple years. So, I'm not out on Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward has the ability to lead that team, to maybe to a playoff, maybe to a playoff win or two. Who knows the future? But give the man some time, give the man a good supporting cast around him. Give him a good football team like all these other guys have. And we'll see what he can do. But now you got Robert Saleh. Now I know the knock on Robert Saleh being a head coach, right? We can't have short-term memory. He was just the head coach for the New York Jets, and we saw what happened there. Now he had a great defense. The defense played their ass off. So that's what we can hang our hats on when Robert Saleh, when he first steps on campus in Tennessee. We can rest assured that he's going to have that defense ready to play. We can hang our hat on that. But when he had the quarterback, I can't remember the guy's name. Excuse me. Can't remember the guy's name. In New York at the time, he was a first round pick as well. But he couldn't really get him to play well. He's a defensive coach. That's the issue we have as defensive coaches. We're having a younger quarterback. See, if I'm a head coach, or if I'm auditioning for a head coach or interviewing for a head coaching job, my ideal situation will go into a situation that already has a quarterback in place. You see what I'm saying? That way I don't have to go out and hire or play, matchmaking with finding an OC or wide receiver core. I don't have to deal with all that. This is already a for sure thing. All I have to do is slowly work myself in, get the defense playing how I wanted to play, get the culture, the vibe around the organization going, and then work my way over to the offensive side. That would be ideally, but obviously we know that's not the case 9 times out of 10. So I'm just talking. You feel me? But shout out to Robert Saleh, man. Matt Wilson, is that his name? The former first round for the New York Jets. Is it Wilson? I think he went to BYU. I know he went to BYU, but I can't remember the guy's name. He didn't really last long there at all. So he wore the jersey number. He wore number 2, and I actually played against him twice in my career. So, but I can't remember his name. So leave it in the comments if you guys remember his name. But yeah, man, moving on. Okay, so this is what I really been waiting on. Right here. Eric Bieniemy is back, and the Chiefs know exactly what they're doing. Welcome back. One of the most important moves of the NFL offseason just happened, and it flew under the radar. The Kansas City Chiefs brought back Eric Bieniemy, guys, as the offensive coordinator. This is not nostalgia. This is business. Eric Bieniemy helped build the dynasty from 2018 to 2022. He was at the heart of an offense that scored over 30 points per game, made the playoffs every year, and won 2 Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes didn't just develop. He exploded. This wasn't flashy football. This was precision. Eric Bieniemy is not a clipboard coach. He is a former NFL running back. He understands tempo. He understands toughness. He understands accountability. When Bieniemy is in the building, the practice intensity rises. Details matter. Comfort disappears. Great players get coached. Patrick Mahomes has said it himself. Bieniemy challenged him, pushed him, never let him get comfortable. Greatness requires friction. With Bieniemy back, expect a tougher run game, expect quick decisions, expect cleaner red zone execution, and Travis Kelce. What about it? This is the kind of coordinator who knows how to turn it into a matchup nightmare every single week. The Chiefs didn't panic. They didn't rebuild, they reloaded. They went back to someone who knows the culture, knows the quarterback, knows how to win when it matters the most. This move isn't a gamble, it's muscle memory. Airbnb's return sends a clear message. Kansas City is not done. They're not chasing the league. They are reminding the league who they are. Look, guys. It's gonna get spooky in Kansas City, guys. It's gonna get spooky. This is what they've been missing. This is why the offensive play has taken a drop off. I'm just telling you. I played when I played in Kansas City. Eric Bieniemy was the running backs coach. I can personally tell you that he is a no joke type of coach. No nonsense. He getting straight to the point. If you're not getting the job done, he's either going to push you until you can get it done, or you're not playing. Simple as that. But man, I'm telling you, like I was there. I've seen what he did with Jamal Charles, calling them MFs every morning. Them running backs couldn't stand him. They hated him. It was like a love-hate relationship because early in the morning you hear EB walking in the building. Good morning, motherfucker. Excuse my language. Good morning, motherfucker. Wake your game up. Like, that's him. He gonna make sure everybody is on their P's and Q's. And sometimes you need coaches like that on your staff, man, because it raises the level. It raises the intensity of everybody on that football team. You see, the Kansas City problem was, I think they got fatigue of success. You say, dang, how you get fatigue of success? It's a real thing. When you just winning so much, you're like, damn, I'm getting tired of winning. It might not sound like it, but that's what happened to the Kansas City Chiefs. They just thought they could coast. They stopped putting the work in. They thought they can just coast and be in the same position year after year. That wasn't the case. This is the NFL, man. And the Kansas City is did what no other team has done in history, and that's the three-peat. You know what I mean? So, I'm very excited with this hire. I'm about to jump back on the KC bandwagon, man. Hey, I'm gonna make a few games. I'm on the Legends list, so I'm getting my free tickets. I'm definitely going to utilize my free tickets this season. If Eric Bieniemy is gonna be at the helm of the offense, oh, you best believe I'm going to be in attendance because I know what he brings to the table. I know what I'm going to see. And this is just good for football, man. It makes it so competitive, man. Like, you got the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix. They're not going anywhere no time soon. You got Justin Herbert for the Los Angeles Chargers. They're hard. They play hard football. You know what I mean? Like, that is a hard team to beat. They are hard out. They just haven't got over the hump for whatever reason. I think it's an offensive line issue. I think this offseason, the Los Angeles Chargers should really take a deep look into what moves they are going to make, what capital they have, how much cap space are they going to spend or are they going to have? And what are they going to do in free agency in the draft? Because they got to get some protection for Herbert, man. And he's might be top 3 most athletic quarterbacks in the NFL right now. But it just seems like he's always on the ground, getting banged up, pause. And the defense has been playing really well for the Los Angeles Chargers. So that hasn't been really a big issue for them lately. So, you got 3 teams right there. Now the Raiders, I think they might end up drafting the young boy from Indiana. That might help. I'm hearing some rumblings about George Pickens in free agency, but they just need so much. Now those are 2, potentially perennial type of players for the organization. But they just need so much. They need an entire defense. The verdict is still out on Crosby. We don't know if they're going to trade him for capital, draft picks, whatever. Whatever. We don't know what's going on there. But, so that's 2 divisions. That's 2 divisions right there to watch. AFC South, AFC West. 2. And last but not least, I thought this was pretty funny. I don't know if you would call this breaking news. I don't know if this is a parody. I don't know if this clickbait. I don't know what's going on. But Phillip Rivers, as Buffalo's new head football coach, Phillip Rivers, I mean, guys, like what, and like honest, in all honesty, because you got to be careful. I have to be careful what I'm saying. Actually, I really don't. But in all honesty, like what credentials does Phillip Rivers garner to be able to get interviewed by the Buffalo Bills for the head coaching position? I mean, let's look into Phillip Rivers' coaching resume. Has he coached in the NFL? Nope. Has he coached college? No. High school football. That's the highest level Phillip Rivers has coached. And you skip. I mean, you jetpack. You moon jumped over the line of so many others that have been waiting to get that position, to get that call, that interview. So this is where we go into the political part of all of this. They say life ain't fair. So this is a clear depiction of that statement. Life isn't fair. But Phillip Rivers, man, for Buffalo Bills, I can't see it. I don't know if they were just doing that. There was something similar like that a few years back. I can't remember the quarterback's name. Houston Texan fans, y'all could probably tell me, but it was a former NFL quarterback that interviewed for the Houston Texan job at some point, maybe a couple years back, maybe 2022 or something like that. Maybe the year D'Amico was interviewing. It was D'Amico Ryans, D'Amico Ryans, the guy that ended up taking the Cardinals job, they ended up firing him. And then there was this quarterback, and he was a former quarterback. I just cannot think of the guy's name right now. I'm drawing a blank. So y'all gotta excuse me on this show tonight. But anyway, man, I can't see that. That would completely blow my mind if Phillip Rivers becomes the Buffalo Bills head coach. Given the fact that they fired McDermott, a guy that's taking them to 8 or 9, playoff appearances. All he does is win, but he hasn't won a big game. We saw what the owner came out and said, made some comments about Keon Coleman. I thought that was odd. So, yeah, man. But anyway, appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. Again, like I said, make sure y'all subscribe to the podcast, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to the podcast. Y'all been tapping in. Make sure y'all like, share, all that good stuff. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know how y'all feeling, man. Leave some comments. All that good stuff, man. The Corner Suite, man. We out. We are out.